What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Douyu Cup. Already having some trouble connecting to this game, but hopefully it's going to be progressing onwards without that much in the way of problems. No guarantees, of course. Nothing I can do about those perfect world servers. Of course, perfect is always in quotation marks, but when we do actually get into the draft, or whatever it's at right now, hey, look, there's the draft. We're going to have game 2 between Braveheart and TerrorBlade. Currently, Braveheart 1 game up. TerrorBlade not performing terribly in the last game, just falling a little bit short to the initiation power of Braveheart. That is going to be why we see a Storm Spirit being banned out in the first phase, but still Braveheart can grab the clockwork. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by GrandisV for this second game, and we're going to have a Tusk.
Radiant team pick.
Yeah, since he wasn't banned out, instead we see the Lycanthrope banned out by Team TerrorBlade. Honestly, I've been really surprised at TerrorBlade's bans in general. There's always one that is a little bit less understandable. I think the real big I don't know, story in the first game was that Lina played as a support. She was able to farm so much with that Hand of Midas. We're going to see Lina picked up yet again to follow up the Tusk, but I think she was really the difference maker for Team Braveheart. Having those refresher item scepter ultimates was absolutely brutal. Even though we didn't get to see the refresh laser come out, it was an Aegis in between the two. It was still quite significant.
And now it seems like TerrorBlade, they're going to get a lot of aggressive power on the board once again. This time, Lina and Tusk. Clockwork, though, pretty good versus both of these heroes. Getting on top of them, really just having the cogs as a defensive measure. And Braveheart already with a little bit more initiation, and now with the Dazzle pick. So this burst damage of Lina Tusk, though, most of the time, yeah, it's going to be pretty darn deadly. These are two very resistant heroes. This type of combo that TerrorBlade are packing right now, so it's going to be up to this Dazzle to stay in the proper position at the right time. Once again, we have a lot of powerhouse heroes getting through, namely the Undying, who was left to last in the last game, but there he is. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, out of the first ban heroes, you still have Gyrocopter available, but yeah, that pretty much rounds it out. Your caster, mids, the Leshrac Queen of Pain have been taken out, and Shadow Fiend also banned. It's going to be a Rubik for TerrorBlade, so one of these heroes should be farming. It's probably going to be the Lina or an offlane Tusk. There's still that possibility as well.
Yeah, Rubik Lina is just a very solid combo for the TerrorBlade side, so they may just run with that. Who knows, they may even get a little bit of farm to this Lina down the line, as we did see that from the Braveheart side in the last game. TerrorBlade don't really have a ton of scaling late game damage at the moment, however, so Braveheart, should they grab that Gyrocopter, then they will be in a pretty good position. And I think at this point, they may consider it simply because there's a Rubik and Lina on the other end, and even a Tusk. Gyrocopter, yeah, he's going to be up against a lot of burst damage, but do you really want to let TerrorBlade get the Gyrocopter when you can grab it and use it decently for yourself?
Yeah, it functions nicely as a deny pick, and in general, there's not really a situation where you're going to be disappointed that you have a Gyrocopter in your team. Even though he is a little bit on the squishy side, he'll build to shore up that weakness. Natural BKB carrier, and in general, just a good farming hero. He fights well early and scales well late, and at the moment in Dota 2, that's pretty much exactly what you want for your safe laners, and another reason why we'll see like Bloodseeker and Phantom Lancer banned.
Conversely, Team Braveheart can sit on that one and kind of let TerrorBlade have that and try to lock him down early on. I don't really know if that's really a strategy that they can execute, so it will be the Gyrocopter pick. I was going to say Earthshaker would be a pretty decent pick for Braveheart. More obstacles between the cogs and the fissure, and the Dazzle already defensive kit. Get another defensive kit there, and TerrorBlade's aggression will be really hard to execute. But yeah, it seems like that is still an option, but just not for right now. At this point, TerrorBlade, they know they're up against a Gyrocopter. They would have loved to grab that one. As far as, heroes that are still in the pool are concerned, they're just looking to have some farmers, so nothing really stands out at the moment, but I'm pretty sure no matter what they get, they will be a fine hero.
Yeah, a fine hero it should be, and it looks like TerrorBlade are going to take a little bit of time to think about it. It's going to be a Viper, a fine hero, I guess. I don't know, he's going to work pretty nicely in the lane. Overall, a pretty linear scaling hero, nothing too crazy coming out from them here.
Yeah, it's usually I think Viper's best spot is in that 5th slot. You get him because you're up against a lot of magic damage. You don't really know what to get. Right now, it seems like TB are kind of all in on this early mid-game stage. Like, that's where Lina is at her really best. That's where Tusk is at his best. That's even where Viper is at his best. The only problem with that is that they don't have really great ways of getting into these fights. Like, if they had a Spirit Breaker right now, then that'll be great. And to be fair, it's not too late to grab that Spirit Breaker. they need to start fights. They need to take those fights into towers. Otherwise, the heroes are just going to scale off really quickly, and they won't be able to really effectively take care of this gyrocopter as far as damage trades are concerned come late. So, pushing and or initiation for TerrorBlade, and there really aren't many heroes that fulfill both roles.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult task, definitely. The Lycanthrope would have been good in theory, but they banned that themselves out. And a lot of these heroes would have been nice to fill that role for them, but they're just not available of their own volition. They're a little bit more scared of playing against them. So hopefully for them, they have something in mind. They might decide to just go all in and pick up something like a Pugna and try to ball this down super early on. But for Team Braveheart, it's going to be the Witch Doctor. Just in general, a really good hero combos nicely with the Clockwork. If you isolate somebody inside the Clogs, Death Ward is ridiculous, and he's already just a really good support. So Team Braveheart, I think in general, just have a more well-rounded lineup that's less prone to getting pigeonholed in any specific style of play. Braveheart are pretty good in the early game. They can fight effectively there. They have good mid-game initiations, and they scale well late. It's very smooth.
They should be looking for their mid lane hero right now. It is most likely going to be up against that Viper, and as far as mid lane heroes that are still left in the pool, well, there really aren't a ton, but they know that they will probably have to be fighting early, so grabbing a hero with that intention seems to be the objective for them. Yeah, I mean, the pool right now isn't super deep. They have an okay amount of CC, Team Braveheart. Do you think someone like a Puck would do well here, just because there are so many skills that are very easily dodged?
In lane, the Puck would suffer a little bit against the Viper, but yeah, in general, Puck would be okay. It puts a lot of pressure on the Gyrocopter to be that scaling damage threat, but since there's nothing that's going to directly counteract that coming out from TerrorBlade, yeah, I could get behind something like a Puck or just one of his more tempo controlly type mids. It's actually going to be a Templar Assassin ban. That, at least to me, says that TerrorBlade want to run the Viper in the safe lane through Dragon Knight mid instead. This makes life a lot easier for Team Braveheart.
Yeah, I like this progression from TerrorBlade. Definitely a curveball, since Viper is mostly going to go towards that mid lane, but Dragon Knight really, really struggles versus Templar Assassin. This does make it a lot easier for Braveheart, though. With this series of picks and then bans, they know that DK 9 times out of 10 is going to go towards mid. That's where they could, or Braveheart rather, can really abuse this fact. Like, hell, they could even grab a melee mid of their own, or hell, even put Gyrocopter mid if they really wanted to. They probably don't want to be fair, but DK has most of his matchups are mediocre. However, some of them are incredibly, incredibly bad. Puck is, fine versus DK, but man, if you know the DK is going mid, you want to get someone who can shut that down as hard as possible. Even someone like a Razor seems decent. Ooh, an Invoker. Exhort Invoker seems decent here.
Yeah, with setup from the clock and just in general, a pretty good hero to have on your side. Invoker has fallen out of favor very heavily over the last while, but his weakest stage at the moment is the laning stage, and when you're against a Dragon Knight, you can't afford to go for this Invoker, especially since they were running very low on the reserve time and had to make a quick choice. Maybe just falling back on a comfort zone hero is going to work very nicely for them. Just another side note in the Dragon Knight, he really fills that initiation and pushing role that you were describing earlier to the T. So if Dragon Knight can get over his laning stage and start balling with the team, that's going to work very nicely for him. Quickly, let's introduce our teams. TerrorBlade on the Radiant side map. Zox going to be handling that Dragon Knight. Viper is going to be farming, it seems, in the safe lane. Chiyu on the Tusk. A very interesting change of pace. He was playing on the Gyrocopter last game. And Lina and Rubik will be our supporting duo.
Tusk definitely here that you want to have your most comfortable player play, not necessarily sticking to those roles. For Braveheart, we got Sure on the Dazzle, Chaoyue is on the Gyrocopter, and, well, Chan is going to be playing the offlane Clockwork. Yeah, Dragon Knight definitely, as you said, going to fit that dual role of what I said previous. The laning stage for Sox in the last game was really good because he had just such a huge advantage. In this lane, I expect it to be, for the most part, really even. Like, Invoker, yeah, he does have quite a bit of base damage. Should he be going for an Exort build with a Null Talisman, it could really be going either way, really. But Sox should be able to last hit pretty decently, and Invoker, his lane control is almost purely in those right clicks, sometimes Forge Spirits. That's where the Dragon Blood actually gets pretty ridiculous for the DK, so he'll be able to return fire with his own Breathe Fire, and then tank hits from the Invoker. This DK might have just an easy time as last game or at least Sox will have just an easy time as in the last game. And then, should the Invoker leave the lane for any reason, like if he's going Wex or something, the towers are really going to be punished by Sox, and a quick Shadowblade can really jam this game up for the Braveheart side.
Invoker's going to open things up with Quas. At least to me, this is probably indicative of a Quas Wex build, but it could swing either way. That's nothing telling coming up from the Invoker. Up in top lane, there's going to be a snowball onto the Witch Doctor. They'll get a lot of damage into it, but now Gyrocopter joins the fray with Rocket Barrage. But I'm really not catching much of this.
Alright, well, Chaoyue just walks right in with the Rocket Barrage, walks right out, trading right clicks a couple of times, but yeah, not really much of anything going on. What we do have going on is, sure, on the Dazzle, on the high ground, and there's a Parrot coming. Parrot, play cautiously. Yes, he's playing super safe. I like it. Not really going to cost you that much as far as time is concerned, since Dragonite in this lane isn't starved for the bottle, so he'll make the safer path with this Courier and guarantee that he actually gets it. Up towards top, though, they're going to get another initiation onto Chaoyue, this time with the lift. Snowball's there as well. As powerful as this combo is from the TerrorBlade side, it's only really powerful at level 2 when they have Ice Shards. Up until then, it's kind of mediocre.
Yeah, once they get all of their spells available, you have Lift, Fade Bolt, the double nukes coming up from Lina, and it's a huge leap in power. The good news is that they snuck in one extra right-click on a Gyrocopter to cancel his salve. They're going to send him all the way back to base.
That's got to hurt the Gyrocopter, and also without the Gyrocopter there, also opens the door for them to go aggressive onto this Witch Doctor, who, yeah, he has the cask, or coconut, I guess, as it were, but really the threat of going onto the Witch Doctor is that you have to face up against the Gyrocopter with Rocket Barrage thereafter. Not going to be the case for right now, but they're just going to leave the Tusk in the lane alone, get him that level 2, so the crucial point in Ice Shard's now up, and they may actually intercept, sure, they do see him. DK not really going to make a beeline for it. Doesn't even have a point in Dragon Tail yet. So this top lane is still going to be a highly contested lane. In the meantime, we have bottom, where Viper is going to find himself in a great lane. Actually, no, top. They actually get into a fight. Rubik taking a full Rocket Barrage. LSA a little bit too late. They'll take down the Rubik, and well, Lina's going to have to dig her way through those birds to get out of there. One-on-one with the Gyrocopter. Even that level 1 Rocket Barrage is not what you want to have happen.
Oh, absolutely not, especially with such a squishy hero like the Rubik. As far as our other lanes are concerned, it is actually going to be a Wex build from the Invoker. This game, I honestly like Exhort a little bit more, but we'll just have to see. The mana pools coming out from the Radiant side are pretty slim, and EMP is going to hurt a lot, especially for the Tusk. But on the same token, Tusk can very easily dodge EMP for himself and the rest of his team with a well-timed snowball.
I think in this game it's a little bit closer than in others. Like, the kill potential up towards top isn't really super high in that they have a lot of stuns. If the Invoker is working with the Lina and the Rubik, yeah, you could Sunstrike on top of that and you'll get the kills almost every single time. But I think in this particular game, Wex is understandable. Again, he's not going to be crushing this DK. There are very few scenarios where that's going to happen, so you might as well go for the more mid-gamey rotation-oriented build. But unfortunately for this Invoker, he's going to be rotated upon first. How quick is your Ghost Walk? Not quick enough. He gets lifted up. LSA is there, plus the Dragon Tail available. They'll chain stun him almost perfectly, wailing into him. He does get the Ghost Walk off in time. Not enough damage. They'll throw the LSA wide. He still had the Grave on him even if he did. And the, wow, Heal Bomb gonna kill off the Lina. This Invoker, man, I don't know how, but he is really freaking tanky.
The quest regen working overtime, and then really fast fingers onto the Ghost Walk. It's not like it was a hard invoke, but that Breathe Fire, cutting things very, very close. He'll survive, and he'll be able to tango up, and a little bit more heal coming up from the Dazzle, but that Heal Bomb also doing an absurd amount of damage. If I'm not mistaken, that got max targets. That was a 320 physical nuke onto the Lina. It
looked like it was max targets. Also, the Invoker grabbing 2 points in the Quas right now does give you an extra bit of strength, and most of the time that's not going to be noticeably relevant, but I think that time definitely was, since he survived at like single digits of HP. Invoker with that extra point in Quas is even going to be able to stick around in lane, so it's a pretty safe spot for the Invoker, and after receiving a 2-man gank and surviving it, and even turning things around for a kill, he's going to feel really good about this lane. Up towards top, Chiyu not going to get stunned in tower range, so he will be fine to disengage, and now Chaoyue is out of mana. But now that the effective offensive tri-lane has recombined for TerrorBlade, the Gyrocopter once again is going to be under the gun as far as farm is concerned. Lifted up, shards are going to fly, LSA is there. Do they have enough damage this time? Heal from the Witch Doctor, not quite enough. They'll take him down, now going towards the Witch Doctor. Snowball for a little bit of stun, more right clicks, LSA going to blow up the Witch Doctor as well. Sure though with the heal bomb for the second time is going to collect a retaliation kill. Lina taking tower shots. One more right click. Not quite going to do it. Needs one more. He has boots and Lina does not, but no stick. Turnaround. LSA is there. No telekinesis just yet, but there's a Fade Bolt. Sure is going to die right now, dare I say, for sure. And Rubik will be the one to grab that one. Lina's stick, man. That's why you buy it. It's a good item.
Absolutely. Saving her life, bailing her out in a huge way, but another heal bomb kill for the Dazzle. That's not something you see very often, but we were diving through creep waves. Those units start to stack up quite a lot. Now he has another point. The max targets increases, but yeah, that's an absurd amount of damage. In bottom lane, this rotation from the Witch Doctor. Killing off this Viper is difficult, but with level 6 on the Clockwork it is possible. He's just short of the experience for it, but they'll throw the Coconut just the same. Viper was already fairly low, and it looks like they'll be able to kill him even through the creep wave, absorbing a couple of those battery assault ticks, and with it, level 6 for the Clockwork comes out, and Witch Doctor's now level 4.
Now, Viper is going to be dominating the Clockwork in lane 10 times out of 10. It is such a heavily favored Viper lane, it's not even funny. That being said, if you are in a situation like that as Viper, you typically go for your offensive skills. You get another Toxin, you get Poison Attack, because you know that you're going to lock down the lane even harder with every additional point. Because that's the build for Viper, he is that much easier to gank. And now that Chen has his level 6, he may even be in solo kill territory with this Viper. Of course, it is going to be close. Needs the mana for it, and he doesn't quite have that, although he does have a bottle coming out to him right now, so he will. This Clockwork is fully activated, and even though he got completely shut down in lane, he's being doubled up by the Viper, he is still level 6. He does still have quite a bit of gold, and Viper, like, he can't really do anything right now, but anything else right now but farm, where for Chen, he can do exactly this. Stalk the mid lane. Unfortunately, was spotted by an Observer Ward, but still, he's a threat.
And he has a haste rune too. This is about as scary as Clockwork gets, but now they're collapsing onto him. Dragon Knight coming in from the sidelines. They want to bump into him, but they don't get close enough, and I think the Clockwork should just be able to run out of here. Even if he got spotted, the Rubik getting in range is almost an impossibility. But with a smoke, maybe they can get a wraparound onto mid. The EMP Tornado will fly, and that's going to drain Sox completely dry of his mana, making it a lot harder. Now that he hookshot into Hasted Clock, they should be able to turn around for this kill, although he has 5 stick charges and a bottle, going to heal up on the sidelines and wanting to re-engage. He'll drop a Dragon Tail over onto the Clockwork inside his cogs. He's completely isolated from the rest of his team. They'll throw Ice Shards forward, but it doesn't block anybody off. Just one kill, but they have a snowball, going to put everybody... No, they're not going to put anybody in the snowball except for 2. The snowball will connect onto the Dazzle, but now they're coconutted together. The coconut will, lucky enough, fly over to the Dragon Knight, but it's not going to save the Lina's life. Tornado forward. The Tusk also in a bit of a pickle. Is going to be dropped down just with the raw right-click damage. Should be enough. They are short 30, and he has a salve. It looks like the Tusk is actually going to survive. The Invoker is over on the sidelines, but yeah, it's too fast. The Tusk will be able to waddle his way out to safety.
Alright, so many things went wrong with that fight for both sides. First of all, Clockwork sitting in the cogs there. Sure, oh wait, bottom lane, they're going to throw the Viper Strike over towards Chen. I don't think this will be enough damage, although it will be pretty close. Yeah, Clockwork will be A-okay. They hold on to the Grave for a very, very long period of time. The Clockwork died mid-Grave animation. If they saved the Clockwork with the Grave, that would have been a much different fight, much better fight for the Braveheart side. But then they get a free one because Tusk kind of like trolls the Lina by throwing her into that fight with Snowball, and she's only level 3 right now. Jump in, actually, Chaoyue is going to get picked off as soon as he arrives. Hookshot a little bit late from Chen. Still into Sox they go with the Cold Snap there. Sox ain't moving anywhere anytime soon. This time with the Grave, going to save Chen life for a couple more battery assault ticks. He may die to the poison, and he will. However, they will take down the Viper Exchange. Here comes Ice Shards, though, and the Snowball straight onto this Invoker. He's pretty quick. He'll invoke the Ghost Walk, and he'll get out of there. Ultimately, though, TerrorBlade take a 2 for 3, and the tower does get destroyed, I think. Yes, destroyed by the Viper. Invoker, do you really want to do this? There's actually no mana on the Lina. However, she can buy Arc Boots. She will do just that. This is going to be close. Invoker really wants to do this. He has backup incoming.
He has earned Cold Snap.
Yeah, there's the Cold Snap. There's the Coconut. And now Lina, well, LSA is going to be throwing Dragon Slave onto 2, but it's not enough.
The Dragon Knight going to come in from the sidelines, try and get rage for the Breathe Fire into Witch Doctor, but now with 2 points operating in the heal, Witch Doctor is going to be far from lethal range, but yeah, the combination of the Urn plus the Cold Snap is pretty dirty. The Invoker is going to be relying on that quite often this game, but it is going to be able to secure kills even when you're so very low. Mid lane, Viper will apply a little bit pressure on this tier 1, but that's going to be about it. As far as where the next place we're going to see action is concerned, I'm not sure if we're going to know that for quite some time. The vision situation for both teams is reasonably good at spotting out rotations on mid and the bottom lane.
Top lane, Invoker teleported in with the Ghost Walk. It is also worth noting that when he was in that Ghost Walk, I believe he had 2 Quas Orbs up, level 3. So that's a lot of extra just slow regen for him. And we're seeing a lot of just like marginal benefits from Invoker's skill build that he's decided to go. First of all, Quas giving the strength, then giving that extra regen. Don't really see that all the time. However, over towards mid, there is going to be a push right now. DK running out of Dragon Knight form, and here comes the Invoker. He has EMP, no Tornado, and they're going to try to draw them in with the Witch Doctor. Tornado connects only onto the Viper, drains the vast majority of his mana. However, he does still have enough for a Viper Strike in just a couple seconds. And Invoker's biggest, most threatening combo is now down the tubes. There's no Elder Dragon form, however, so I don't really know if this is worth TerrorBlade's time.
Kalema? Huh? That's a new one. We're going a little bit of Temple of Doom here,
that's
but
just is it lagging?
Okay, fair enough. I'm not speaking Chinese at all.
Yeah.
There'll be a flare thrown out in mid, but yeah, it looks like the tier 1 tower is going to be taken very swiftly by the Viper. Will pop the buckler, but this fight could break out fairly soon. The Clockwork's there with the hook shot if he wants to initiate, but there's no clean angle yet.
This is really persistent from the TerrorBlade side. Like, they don't even have mech up right now. If they had mech or Elder Dragon form, yeah, then go for it. Otherwise, they might get into a poor fight right now. EMP can be completely dodged. Hookshot in onto the Viper. He's isolated from the rest of his team. Battery Cell still, and that's not going to help at all. Viper, though, now sitting in those cogs, he's pretty much in the fortress. Chaoya off to the side, doing a lot of damage with that Rocket Barrage. Gets graved up as well. However, it's going to be Viper to fall first. Now into Sox they go. He pops the Dragon form out of panic. That doesn't actually help you that much, but he will live regardless of that fact. Chan still on his tail. Sox going to try to TP out. Earn charge, cog bump. That's going to kill off the DK. They also see the Lina. She has an LSA right now. She'll throw it towards the Invoker, but the Coconut will crack onto her head. And with the Rocket Flare Tornado, she's going to crater. Is there anyone else in the area? It's Rubik, who does steal a Tornado, which is a really good skill to steal. Ultimately, however, it is TerrorBlade to lose 3 heroes, gain a tower. Do they? I don't think they actually killed off anyone there, so that's super costly. If they should have just waited for Dragon Form or Mech.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Gyrocopter also takes out the tier 1 tower in the top lane, so that really isn't worth it at all. They're going to TP towards the tower, and with this Tornado on the Rubik, maybe they can set something up, but it's going to be very difficult. Now that the Tornado EMP is going to fly out, draining all of the mana from the Viper. Already, Viper's pretty mana strapped when you go for this mechanism build, but if an EMP connects, there's absolutely no way he can get off Viper Strike and Mech, or at this point, he can't even get off Viper Strike.
And a Viper with no Viper Strike is level 4 of Corrosive Skin on a 1000 hero health hero body. Not terrible by any stretch, but not exactly worth a pick even. Chan, he's actually on the hunt right now. Has double damage rune, and he sees Chiyu. A very, very difficult kill, and he's actually going to try to Rocket Flare snipe the Rubik. Cute, but not going to happen, unfortunately. Yeah, he's going to fall back for right now. Yeah, Bravehearts, they do lose now 2 towers total, but TerrorBlade, they panic use the Elder Dragon form at the very end of that fight, which means they're not actively pushing this top lane. If they had it right now, then between the mech and the dragon form, I don't think Braveheart can convincingly defend this unless they get initiation before TerrorBlade are actually at the tower, somewhere around here. That actually might happen really shortly if they really want to go for that. No, they're just going to go for a classic defense.
7-11 at the moment. The Tower team have a slight advantage, but honestly, it's not too significant. When it comes to net worth, it's less than 1,000 in their favor, although the experience advantage is a little bit higher, and that does mean quite a lot with their heroes. Honestly, this could go either way when it comes to this exchange. It all depends if Clockwork finds a good jump angle, and it looks like he has found himself a pretty nice nook inside the trees to go ahead and assassinate somebody on the sidelines. They spot out the Viper, and he could, in theory, go onto him, but the Viper is very tanky, especially now that the EMP Tornado misses. I don't think they're going to try.
Yeah, that's, again, the biggest payload, the only offensive spells that the Invoker really has. They'll throw the Coconut, which will bounce pretty perfectly, actually, getting a lot of value. Unfortunately, not on the correct target. They really wanted to connect on the Viper. Slowly but surely, the tower is going to dry up. 12 seconds. Braveheart have to hold until they could fight again. 9 seconds now as the EMP combo is coming back up online. This time they'll have a call down on top of that as well. Weave going to connect onto 2. Fortify is there. And now they're ready to throw out another combo. There's the Tornado. There's the EMP. Going to connect onto 0 heroes again. Hookshot to the backlines. However, they catch Sox, push the Viper back in. Tower already having going down, though. They do get the call down to quite a few heroes, but they just don't have enough focus damage right now. They take down the clock with the Walrus Punch. Now Chaoya going to get hit with the Grave, and he will be fine to back off. Death Ward forcing TerrorBlade to back off as well. Everyone's going to retreat away from this. Chow though, really banged up. Lina going to reinitiate with a Dragon Slave, but with the heals, the Witch Doctor, and the Dazzle, they can even chase forward for a little bit more. Coconut being thrown onto Chiyu, bouncing to the Rubik, and then back to Chiyu. He's going to get perfectly chain stunned. They just need a couple more hits. Chio's going to get close, but now Breathe Fire and right click. He's going to die as Chiyu does snowball and escape out of there. Urn onto the Witch Doctor right now, gets healed up a little bit more. Laguna Blade's available though, and I think he's going to pop. No, there's the EMP, which will force the Lina back. She doesn't have anything, although LSA will be thrown regardless. Heal stolen by the Rubik. He'll steal another heal as they do take down Sure, almost taking down the Dazzle as well. That was such a messy initiation from Braveheart. Ultimately, I think this fight was an even one. Tower was destroyed, and Invoker's EMP Tornado combo struggling to land. However, he's in a pretty good position to go for something else. Tornado is going to land, but it's not going to do that much.
Sucks still more than survivable enough to walk that one off. But yeah, the Invoker missing his EMP Tornado combo really does hurt a lot. As you said, it really is the only offensive spells that the Invoker has in his arsenal at the moment, as he has completely committed for the Quas Wex build. He almost has maxed out Wex, so his combination does do quite a lot. 475 mana burn, and damage coming out from his Tornado is quite significant, but it was just a weird decision to go in after that mist coming out from the Clockwork, and he also didn't hit the target that I think he was going for. He ends up getting stuck in the back lines between a whole heap of enemy heroes, and trying to focus down the DK really isn't a possibility. Oh, yeah. The Invoker's sitting on a lot of net worth for the team, but all of that is tied up in the Midas, more or less. He does have a little bit of gold pooled up, and quite a significant chunk, but it's not enough to fight into this Viper's, actually translate that into items to fight now with. It's going to be Tornado thrown at mid. The EMP's also going to be there. Will it drain the Viper? It will. He pops the mech before it hits him. Not that it would have mattered either way. We wouldn't pad out of mana through that spell, but yeah, things are going to slow down a bit. Although Clockwork does have an invis, he'll catch out poor DK with the Cold Snap as well as the Weave minus armor. They might have enough damage too with the Death Ward, but he's so survivable. The Shallow Grave up can count. That's not going to be enough. Light Strike Array is going to completely miss. The follow-up damage onto the Dazzle will be there with the Light Strike Array, but another initiation by Braveheart that goes sorely awry. TP attempt coming out from the Witch Doctor will succeed, and the Invoker's running out towards the right. I don't think they can chase forward. He's fairly swift on his feet with those phase boots, and the Wex Orb is flying around his head, and he will live.
Level 4 Dragon Blood, man. Pretty good skill coming out from Sox. Between that and the Corrosive Skin, these flyers on the TerrorBlade side are really, really difficult to bring down. Combine that with the fact that Bravehearts don't actually have that much damage, and it gets even worse. Like this Wex Invoker, as far as how Wex Invoker behaves, it's not really a damaging build. You get a lot of right click, you get a lot of sticking power since you have so much movement speed, but outside of that, you go Exhort if you want damage, you go Wex if you want utility, and that utility is kind of helping out, but they're just really falling short in the damage department. Clockwork hasn't even maxed out his Battery Assault yet, which is really curious to see. Going for level 3 Battery Assault, then 3 points into the Rocket Flare is something I don't think I've ever seen before, but that wouldn't have even helped him that much. They get a full Death Ward channel, yet DK eats all of it, and soon DK will have his BKB up, so even the marginal amounts of magical damage that Braveheart do have, they won't be able to kill off this DK, and even if they get him low, Snowball can completely bail him out. Sox seems like he's just unkillable right now as long as he has his teammates nearby, and Invoker can't really do anything about that. Cold Snap is good, but it's pretty much just like a stunning tool at this point. Not really a lot of damage. He needs some Exhort, I think. Needs to stop getting even Wex and Quas at this point. He just needs to get like a high-level Meteor or Deafening Blast.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair enough. With the Midas, that is a possibility for the Invoker, but it is going to take quite a long time. They have Dire Vision over that Viper with the Impure Tornado connecting as well as the Death Ward. They're going to drop Viper low, and Hookshot will jam that one home. Clockwork will secure the kill with the Rocket Flare. Braveheart find a much-needed pickoff, even though the TerrorBlade team have been getting a couple of good fights to go their way. The biggest issue is how are they going to be able to take these tier 2s and subsequently the barracks after the fact. Dragonite has secured the tier 1s easy enough, but anything further than that's fairly difficult.
They need to get a pick off beforehand, and that's a little bit, as you said, difficult with Braveheart having so many ways of initiating. Bottom lane's going to be pushed. DD on the Invoker helping out there. Shard's not quite going to connect, and he goes straight into the Ghost Walk and gets pretty darn far away. Chiyu unable to back off from that snowball, of course, and, well, the Invoker will get away, everyone will get away. And the tower will live right now, but the DK does have a large stack that's being worked. He does have stack of ancients rather. He does have the BKB coming in. It's not impossible to see DK straight go into the Braveheart tier 2s and not really be too scared of much. Lina has an Invoker right on top of her. There's the Cold Snap. No Urn just yet, but just the right clicks, and Lina actually just can't do anything. She will crater to this. That was terrible as Lina. You gotta feel bad about that when you're just sitting there constantly perma-stunned by one hero. And the tower will fall. Braveheart may even go for a little bit more. Now they're gonna fall back.
This Invoker has been sitting on so much gold this game, currently up to almost 3,600. I don't think there's really an item that it's worth saving up this much gold for other than Radiance. They spot out the Invoker, but anything further than that's going to be difficult. They will catch eyeballs on him with the Sentry Ward. They'll chase forward with the Snowball. Snowball connects, Ice Shards will be thrown, but Invoker will survive, turns around for the EMP Tornado, and with that, not going to drain anybody's mana, but even so, Invoker does survive. But yeah, what do you think the Invoker's actually going to settle on with his item build?
Okay, so when you're going for Exhort, it's usually pretty clear. You just go Necrobook, you go for damage, you go for, you know, a Force Staff, something like that. When you're going for Wex, usually you want to go for a little bit more movement speed, and you want to be like a little more of a right clicker, because you do have that much sticking power. So going for this Orchid, I guess I kind of cheated since he just bought the items as soon as I was going to say something, but to be fair, I was not going to say Orchid. Orchid is actually going to be really good. We already saw him solo kill Lina. With this Orchid now up, it's not going to be impossible to see him, well, if the DK didn't have a BKB, just solo kill someone like a DK. Just burn all of his mana, stick on him, maybe even get an Alacrity on himself, and then with that Orchid, he's absolutely dishing, and dishing very, very swiftly at that. Like, his attack speed is insane. So you get Orchid, you get Cold Snap, you get Alacrity, and then you just tear people to shreds. This Invoker is now an assassin, and maybe now he could actually, well, contribute to these fights outside of half missing EMP tornadoes.
Radiant's bottom tower is
They're going to be hunting down on the enemy side of the map with an Invis Clock and an Invis Invoker, and it looks like they might just blow the smoke around the corner. They spot them with wards, but now the smoke is popped. They know somebody's there. They'll pop dust and find out 4-4 Clockwork isolated away from the enemy, or the rest of his team. He's going to go down, and on the other side of the fight, a jump in with the Laguna Blade Walrus Punch will crater the Invoker. The smoke, maybe it didn't go down how TerrorBlade anticipated it would, but the end result is very, very good for them.
You're taking 2 kills there. Like, you find one hero, yeah, that's pretty much what you would expect of finding 2. That's just icing on the cake. Invoker, yeah, in theory, he would be able to do all that damage, but up against a perma-stun, it's a little bit more difficult to execute. Dragon Form has not been used, although the mana situation here from the TerrorBlade side, not exactly ideal. It is enough to go for this push. I don't even think they need to use Dragon Form for this, honestly. It's already so weak, so Braveheart will lose a tier 2 tower right now. And TerrorBlade finally getting a successful smoke. Haven't really seen many of them across this series right now, but hey, that's part 1 of this smoke story for them. Now in part 2, they're actually doing really well, and they can continue hunting down for extra heroes. As long as they have Dust, which they do on the Lina, Sentries on the Tusk as well, this Invoker's assassination isn't really going to work that well. It only really works if the enemies are all separate, all by themselves. When they're in a group of 5 with True Sight, you can't really do that much as any hero with Invis, really.
No, and now the only issue that remains for TerrorBlade at this point in the game is that Gyrocopter's picking up a lot of farm. Currently sits at the top of the net worth chart, but his items don't necessarily translate to mean that he's the top threat. He has a Sanjiasha Phase Boots, Helmet Dominator, and a Quelling Blade. These are fine items to help him farm, but as far as his ability to fight, it is fairly limited until he picks up the next couple items. He's kind of a ticking time bomb. As the game progresses later, it's going to be very difficult for TerrorBlade to push into him, but as long as they keep up these kills going, and they're going to go for another smoke in mid lane with 4 of their heroes, things should go fairly smooth.
Man, Alacrity is going to hit really hard. 80 attack speed, 30 damage. Shards to fly towards Chen Chen. That's not going to connect. Alacrity on the Gyrocopter. Right now, not really a huge threat since, yeah, dumping out your flat cannon charge is nice, but usually you get it out anyway. Once it actually becomes a little bit more of a damage tool with more points of Exhort, Gyrocopter is freaking terrifying, man. Like, Alacrity, of course, applies that damage to all the hits. So, that's insane value. Like, Alacrity on Gyrocopter is the thing of nightmares.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, only 2 points in Exhort, so it's not going to be that impressive, but as this game goes later, honestly, I think Braveheart's chances get a lot better. Yeah, especially if they can ever get to the point where Invoker has the maxed out Deafening Blast. It's really a force to be reckoned with that can't be compared to anything on the Radiant side when it comes to initiation. If you have a blink in the AoE Deafening Blast, it's ridiculous. For now, Invoker's going to put the Alacrity on himself and go to town onto this Roshan. This is actually not scouted by the Radiant team, or is it? No, Clockwork doesn't have Flare. That was Clockwork's Flare. Not sure why he threw that in all honesty, but not going to matter. Aegis is picked up by the Invoker.
Even trade for the tier 2 tower. Pretty standard stuff there. TerrorBlade, as you said, don't really have that great of the late game scaling. They're going to teleport back, maybe catch a chance, although Cogs there will prevent the DK's advance, even bump him back a little bit, and Ice Shards do not connect. They will run into the Invoker right now. Lina knows about it. Dust is there. Needs the Tornado to get out of there. Invoker's going to turn around and actually fight. There's the lift up. Invoker will get graved. Is lining up a Tornado right now, going to catch it onto 3. Still, he's not in a great position right now, though with the maxed out Wex, he's so fast, even with level 2 poison attack, and Viper can't quite stick on him enough. And Invoker is free and clear. He'll heal up, may even want to disengage, but while this is happening, Chaoyue is on the bottom lane, just pushing as the Gyrocopter. Call down is there, which will force the Rubik out of this fight. Tower will fall, and Invoker not going to lose his life. There are so few heroes that can actually get out of a situation like that, but Invoker with Tornado and maxed out Wex is one of them.
Yeah, and now they still sits on that Aegis the Immortal, and you have a BKB coming out from the Gyrocopter as soon as he finishes up this large stack of creeps. If he does that, he'll move over to the medium, getting maximum value out of the flat cannon, and yeah, there you go. They'll probably just be able to barrel down one of these lanes and go for a straight push. 10-second BKB on Gyrocopter is a huge leaping power. Even though he's still not doing the most damage, still flat cannon 200 AoE times 6 is a lot more than these squishy supports can deal with. Vision caught onto the Lina. She'll force staff away. If she gets caught up by a hook shot, this could get very scary for him. Since she doesn't have that force staff, there's going to be a Tornado to follow through. Lina tries through Lagoon Blade and it will connect, but with a shallow grave, will buy Clockwork a little bit more time. He'll get Dragon Tailed up, and the Dragon Knight will be able to secure that kill with a little bit of help from the Viper. But now Viper, isolated inside the combo, or call down, will eat both of those missiles and plenty of damage now that they apply the Medallion effect. There is an invis on the Dragon Knight using his Shadow Blade, going to turn around for the Gyrocopter. Will there be enough follow through? There is a Walrus Punch, but Shallow Graved and BKB and Cherry is going to fight to the death. Dragon Knight is maledicted up and he's going to try to run away, although that isn't going to do the most damage to him. They know exactly where he is, and everybody else has fallen. Rocket Barrage, and that would be a double kill for your Gyro.
Man, Braveheart held the line. I think that's really the name of the game. Chaoyue has gone for such a survivability-based build with the Lifesteal BKB and the Sanjin, the SNY. He's able to just sit on the top and just take hits all day long. Of course, no Viper, no Lina definitely makes things a little bit easier, but while the Gyrocopter is simply tanking things, Invoker's sneaking to the back lines and assassinating the really squishy heroes that just want to have a little bit of cover. This Invoker right now is a pretty potent right-clicker. He's going to throw a Tornado, which will actually connect to on the Lina, even with that Force Staff. Now Silence Cold Snap, that's a dead Lina. Very well executed by this Invoker, and he can back off right now. Still with that Aegis, however, it's going to be a tier 2 tower on the top lane to ultimately fall. Braveheart ultimately take a ton of kills, and they still have the Aegis with them. For TerrorBlade, just losing that Lina, first of all, that should have been signaled to retreat, but they insisted on fighting in really close quarters. This is probably as close quarters as it can possibly get. That's where Invoker, no matter what build he's going for, becomes a ridiculous hero. And to a lesser extent, Clockwork and Witch Doctor as well. So TerrorBlade taking a fight in a bad position 4v5. Honestly, they were asking to lose heroes there.
And now after that, Invoker's sitting on 5,500 gold. That's ridiculous. Honestly, at this point, where you go for it, looks like he's going to answer that. Probably a Scythe of Ice coming out from your Invoker, and or no, actually, it's an Eye of Scotty. Interesting.
It's not really like a spell casting Invoker build. Like, if you look at this item kit, you would not expect this to be picked up on an Invoker. This looks like a little bit more like a Queen of Pain or something like that. Someone who just wants to lay it in with the right clicks. But as Alacrity gets better, he gets more kill potential. And I have Scotty with Cold Snap. You're not going anywhere anytime soon as anybody. Maybe it would have been a little bit better, perhaps, if he was going to go for like an Octarine or something like that. But a fast Eye of Scotty on any hero, 28 minutes in with an Orchid and everything else already up, he's very difficult to kill now, even harder than he was before. So yeah, I can't really say that this is a bad item here.
No, I actually quite like it. It's just a little surprising to me. The gyrocopter and the... Oh, they're going to find the backline heroes. The Dazzle will be brought down immediately, as is the Witch Doctor. This makes things a lot harder for them. The call down's going to be dropped, but Sox as a BKB hardly cares about that at all. Snowball over to the sidelines. They'll catch out the Clockwork, or maybe the Clockwork's caught them. He'll be able to hookshot in, killing off the Lina, but the Invoker and Gyro still stand strong, peeling away at the Dragon Knight, and Viper, stuck on this high ground, is going to go down one way or another. Tornado looks like that's going to be lethal. A double kill and a mega kill spree for your Braveheart Invoker. That looks so good, a start of a fight for TerrorBlade, but just didn't matter because the Gyro Invoker have so much net worth.
You know what's a really good skill? Deafening Blast is a really good skill. That connected onto, I believe, 4 heroes there, maybe 3. But Deafening Blast, most of the time, you see it in the Exort build because it's just another nuke. When you have it on a Wex build, the enemies are disarmed for like 10 years. They can't do anything. Viper was sitting up there. Of course, he was stuck, so couldn't really go anywhere. But he was also not attacking that entire time. And everyone else from TerrorBlade was also not attacking. So Invoker essentially locked down 3 or 4 heroes just with one spell cast, and of course blasted out a whole bunch more skills after the fact. So that Deafening Blast, man, that salvaged the fact that they lost their 2 support heroes immediately because, well, it was pretty much an even trade, or a temporary even trade. Now he's on the hunt for the Lina. We've seen this time and time again. Force Staff, not really going to be enough unless she finds a Force Staff into trees and Invoker somehow loses sight of her. She's going to have to sneak to the side shop and grab a TP because there are sharks coming. There's the silence. No cold snap needed. I have Scotty slow. She will pop. That's going to be a very easy kill for the Invoker. He's 9, 1, and 12 with another 2,100 gold in the bank.
Yeah, it started a little slow for the Invoker, but as soon as he started picking up momentum, he's gone off like a shot. Honestly, the Lina had no right being that far up in the top lane. A fairly squishy hero, and when you're dealing with this Ghostwalk Invoker, he's 100% of the time invis, and more often than not, it's going to be on your side of the map, and he's still hunting. The TerrorBlade side have somewhat the right idea. They're grouped up as 4 and trying to stick together, and it's going to keep them safe while they push out these lanes, but they're losing a lot of gold to the Braveheart heroes. Gyrocopter is able to farm up in their woods, and they can take a lane farm in 2 lanes where they only get 1. It's just going to slowly choke them out of this game if they don't do something and do something fast. And honestly, their window is almost closed.
Yeah, their late game power of a late game DK, late game Viper is, in theory, pretty high. The problem is those heroes, first of all, never really get to late game stage because they're such slow farmers, so they will not be able to keep up with a DK and an Invoker who are constantly running around getting kills. With a Gyrocopter Invoker, rather. So the fact that they have, like, in theory, good late game heroes, they're just not going to achieve their late game in time. They need to catch this Invoker off guard. Like, he's always been alone. For most of the time, he's been alone, so it's a pretty easy kill there. But doing this, like, as Chiyu, this is exactly what you don't want to be doing because he may have a BKB, but he's going to have to just force to use it, and wow, Invoker might even get the kill regardless. Oh, so close. The Invoker needs an MKB right now. Then he'll assassinate anyone. I don't care if it's a DK with like 50 armor, like he's not going to stand a chance.
Honestly, I'd be okay if he just goes for a straight Daedalus. With no evasion coming out from the TerrorBlade side, Invoker can be a right-clicking threat. He's honestly tanky enough already. And, well, speaking of MKBs, there's now one up on the Gyrocopter. This is very, very scary. Braveheart, not only are they difficult to bring down, they're going to bring down your team while they're tanking all of that damage. In a dream scenario... Oh...
Walk right in. Cogs go up. He pops the BKB, though. It's really only the Witch Doctor who's a viable kill here. In exchange for BKB charge, that's completely fine, although they're going to want to fight this one anyway. Chira gets right in there with Alina. She's down first, and the Viper's taking a beating as well. Somehow the Witch Doctor's still alive with the Grave. Now we're going to turn things around to Sox. They can't even kill off the Witch Doctor. They finally with the Walrus Punch, but he's already done his job. Rurik's going to jump up to the high ground right now, but Chira's going to chase forward for Chiyu. Has no more tools left. 10 sticks, not going to do it. Do they know that this Rubik is here? They probably should, but I don't think it's really going to be relevant because they only kill off the Witch Doctor, and now they can go straight up the high ground. The creep's not really working out for them fantastically, but yeah, they could just go for it as soon as the creeps arrive.
Yeah, Clockwork was in their base hunting for that Rubik as he retreats, but they're not going to find him. Even so, Braveheart are just outlasting and outplaying the TerrorBlade heroes. I think at this point it's just a matter of they're Viper and their DK didn't get enough farm, and yeah, the Sentry Ward in the high ground really paying dividends.
And for the second time, it's also TerrorBlade fighting in super close quarters. The Invoker wasn't even there, like, at all, so it was a 4v5 fight. Xiaoyu was the one to do all of the damage with the call down, with his MKB damage with the flat cannon, which of course was going to hit onto everyone. Sock's going to TP right in, but killing this Invoker is tough business right now. He's going to get graved up and has a Ghost Walk or Tornado or even both, and he will choose to use both now. Here comes Gyrocopter from the back end, flat cannon, doing quite a bit of damage to everyone, not to bring anyone down right now, but Sock's isolated on the back lines. Invoker is there, should be able to bring down this Dragon Knight. Here comes Chiyu, trying to go for this Invoker, will fall short though because the heal is there, and Invoker, he just is so damn tanky. He's even going to take a bath in the fountain, maybe. No, not enough time for that one. Braveheart, they take the game in convincing fashion. This game just fell off the wheels really, really quickly for TerrorBlade. They just needed to get more kills, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So about 23 minutes in the game, things were looking all right for them. They turned around one fight and they got some momentum under their belt. But from there on out, they just kept on getting picked off one by one by one. It was a downward slope. At the end of the game, more than 20k and both golden experience in favor of Team Braveheart. And yeah, I think they just outlasted the aggression coming out from TerrorBlade. In the end, they'll take the series 2-0.
Okay, well, I tried to use this stupid Skype stuff, but it never is working as correctly as it should be for some reason. I don't know why that is. It's always broken. Never working properly. There it is. Okay, so yeah, Braveheart gonna take it 2-0. For TerrorBlade, they have still yet to win a game, which is really unfortunate. It just seems like no matter who they're really up against, they're kind of just getting outclassed. Like, the Invoker had a super slow start. He whiffed many times on that Tornado EMP, but like, even with that, those two skills essentially doing nothing, TB couldn't really push. And I think that was also another problem. They just needed to get this DK more value. They needed more towers. They needed to get further and further ahead so that they could actually accelerate the DK and Viper into late game, because a Sanjin Yasha mech Viper, with that mech especially not being able to be casted because of the lack of mana, not really that impressive. So we will, guys, go into the next game in... Oh, now. Okay, we're probably a little bit late for it. We should probably cut this a little bit short. But yeah, next game, it is going to be... What is it? Newbie Miracle versus... Trying to remember off the top of my head. Damn it, I can't remember. I'll pull up the schedule right now. It's going to be Newbie Miracle versus Energy Pacemaker, who are currently doing very well right now. So Energy Pacemaker, the favorites, but we'll see if Newbie Miracle can pull a namesake miracle. Guys, I'm Mikelorus, joined by GrandisV, and we'll both be right back for the next series from the Douyu Cup. We'll be right back.